L'Afrique, terre d'opportunités.
Moi, je suis ravie de voir de belles initiatives comme ça qui accompagnent, incitent la jeunesse africaine à bouger. Parce qu'effectivement, aujourd'hui, rien ne se fera si on ne bouge pas nous-mêmes. Aujourd'hui, je pense qu'on est capable de faire de belles...
On a compris que la richesse aujourd'hui, elle se trouve en Afrique.
L'Afrique reste le continent de demain, reste un continent où il y a un développement économique quand même à deux chiffres.
C'est mon destin. Et j'espère que tout Africain qui se trouve ici pense la même chose de son pays.
C'est très important lorsqu'on parle de développement. On ne peut pas aujourd'hui concevoir le développement de l'Afrique sans une unité des Africains.
Qui dit aucun de nous, en agissant seul, ne peut atteindre le succès. Donc agissons ensemble. Nous avons un fort potentiel que nous pouvons apporter à la jeunesse africaine, au développement de l'Afrique en général.
C'est presque une évidence. La jeunesse est une valeur.
Okay, so first and foremost, before starting this competition, I want each of you to introduce yourself. I'm in Malick first, and then Aime Césaire High School. It seems that Aime Césaire, they're not yet ready. Are you guys?
Yeah, we're ready.
Yeah, you are. That's great then. So Malick High School, you have the floor. Just for each, I want each of you to introduce yourself for just maybe 30 seconds. 30 seconds, and then you will give the floor to students from MSZ to introduce themselves too, right? And then we will start the competition.
Okay, hi, my name is Okay, my name is Manba. I'm in class in Malick High School.
So my name is Malick. I'm in Malick High School.
Okay, so I'm greeting each other in the most respectful way. Named after Idris Hamid, the current king of the English club, and as they underline, we all are students in Malick High School, and it's a pleasure to be here today. So I participate in this topical issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Césaire, go on.
So I'm Abdullah Walisain. I'm in grade 11 and I'm representing my school.
Hello, my name is Sharif Jai. I'm in grade 11 and it's a big honor for us to participate in this debate. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dala So I'm in grade 11 S2 and it's my pleasure to be here today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It was wonderful. Now, before starting the competition, last time you've heard the message addressed by the academic and scientific director, Mr. Alexander, talking about the evaluation criteria and the things that you have to avoid during the matches, and yes, and part of it is the main goal is really to respect the timing. And I think that I will give the floor to I don't know, one of the members of the jury to talk about that just quickly, maybe the rules and I mean the evaluation criteria, so that you have a clear vision about what is it exactly. Mr. Silla, just for 1 minute or even 30 seconds, just give them the evaluation criteria and the rule of some rules. Yes.
Yes,
they have a clear vision.
Yes, thank you, Amina, for giving me back the floor. And yeah, I wish good luck to both of the teams. I think each one of the teams have played a match, so you know a bit about the rules and how it works. So just a quick reminder that the jury is evaluating the members in terms of understanding. First of all, in terms of understanding of the topic, how do you understand the topic? And second, in terms of your argument, your clarity of the arguments, how do you actually, what are your arguments actually, and how do you develop those arguments? Third, actually, it's about debate. Oops. I can hear myself. Sorry. So I was saying that it's important that the debate is not parallel. Like it's a debate, so we really want that there is a counter attack. So when one team gives an argument, we really want the other team to respond on the arguments before giving another argument. So avoid parallel debate is very important to the members of the jury. And one last point, it's also about the English, because it's a debate, of course, but it's a debate using the English language. So it's very important that you you mind on the mistakes. So yeah, so it's important that you develop your ideas in a very not perfect English, but in a very correct academic English that people can understand. And maybe one last point is about the time. So the technique is going to send the time, and then we really want you to stick on the time. So mind the time doesn't mean that you have just to end up your argument just like that. So when you see that the time is coming to an end, so you need to wrap up your ideas and then find a best way to conclude your arguments before the time ends. Yeah.
Thank you. It was so clear, jury president, Amadou Silla. So I think that you've heard what the jury president has said. So just bear in mind those. Okay, so just bear in mind those advice and try to respect it. If you're ready, I think that we can start now. Malick, are you ready? Yeah, Aime, Césaire, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you ready? Okay, since you stand for a yes, Aime, Césaire, you have the floor first for your introduction of 5 minutes. So you have the floor.
There you have the floor first for your introduction.
Thank you. We so proud. Thank you. Modern economists are of the view the natural resources such as forest minerals, climate, accessibility of water, energy sources play an important role in economic development of a country. A country which has abundant natural resources got a position to be developed rapidly, and it is more efficient to be developed when you got those kind of resources, and this can help you develop. Economies are created and managed by people. These people must be capable of performing the duties required to create such an economy. Matters of economic growth and decline of the population. This is called human capital. Human capital is described as the skills, training, and health acquired through a job training or an education. Michael Pakistan Park defines it as the skill of knowledge of human beings. It is also defined as endowment of ability of produce that exists in each human being. To truly understand the word, we must understand the role of that population in the economic growth. And then we'll understand why it is a must for African people to invest in human capital. Thank you.
In the long run, your human capital is your main base of competition. Your leading indicator of where you're going to be 20 years from now is how well you're doing in your education. Ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, dear opponents, dear members of the jury, dear representatives of THINKANDTALK. By the most respectful and peaceful way, I'm greeting you and I'm conveying you my most distinguished and respectful greetings. Today we have the honor and the pleasure to talk about this topical issue, which is it a must for African countries to invest more on the human capital to attain sustainable development? Before all, let us see what is, human capital and what is sustainable development. According to Wikipedia Dictionary, human capital is a stock of habits, knowledge, social, and personality attributes embodied in the ability to perform labor, so as to produce economic value. And sustainable development can be defined as, a way of organizing society so that it can exist in the long term. This means taking into account both the imperatives and those of the future, such as the preservation of the environment and natural resources, or social and economic equity. If we look at, the definition closely, we can see that the main objective of human capital is to put humans to the disposal of companies for them to be productive and just get more prosperous. By doing so, they might be dehumanized humans, as it is becoming the case in Westerners. People are very skilled, but they work to shut, an instant today don't feel like they are living anymore. Stress and burnout are killing more people than ever. This is the reason we believe that rather than putting the emphasis on human capital, government should make of human welfare a priority. They should invest in making humans productive by making them enjoy and value life, not only economic growth. That being said, human capital should not be the top priority for our leaders. That's why we're defending the no today. They are more important aspects that contribute to developing our country. Is it human capital enough for Africa's development? And also, does this human capital enough and able to develop our African country? And today, through verified arguments and proof arguments, this opportunity that is given by Manager Production and THINKANTALK, we are going today to show you that it is necessary for African leaders to invest in human capital, but alone it can't develop our Africa's country, because we have a lot of things and a lot of ways to develop our country apart from that, human capital. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, I have to tell you, human capital and economic growth have. Okay, first of all, I have to tell you that human capital and economic growth have a strong correlation. Human capital affects economic growth and can help to develop an economy by expanding the knowledge and skills of its people. So the skills provide economic value, and since a knowledgeable workforce lead to increased productivity, human capital is pursued to increase productivity and thus profitability. Africa's diversity and human capital are increasingly being regarded as the continent that is the greatest asset. Africa's young population has the potential to catalyze growth and development on the continent. By 2030, it is estimated that more than 60% of Africans will be of working age, and by 2040, Africa is expected to have a larger working population than China and India, and that's what African people need to go ahead. Thank you.
So, hi everyone. I'm going to be provide most respectful way. I'm Malick, one of the debaters in my class in English. So, before I will emphasize on the sustainable development. What is sustainable development? Sustainable development is the broad concept with four main objectives. which are firstly social progress and equality, secondly environmental protection, thirdly natural resources conservation, and the last stable economic growth. Thirdly, look at the paradox between all the wealth we have in the African countries and how poor its enables are made, make us think that we have a problem related to the human capital. But no, we don't have it. We think that is a misleading ideas because what we lack is not real human capital. The continent is full of quality human resources that can develop our countries. They are trained in the best universities, people who have nothing to elevate. So the problem we have is the lack of environment that is not adequate for a development. We need to strengthen our institutions, reinforce our justice, create a business-friendly environmental likely to attract investors and foster development. Thank you.
So thank you. I have to say that it's a big honor for us to be here and talk about this topical topic, which is it a must for African countries to invest more in human capital to attain sustainable development? So we have to know what is the role of human capital in economic development. Human capital is a fundamental source of economic growth. African nations would need to inject more funds into human capital to ease inclusive growth and proper productivity. The AFDB revealed its 2020 African Economic Outlook entitled Developing Africa's Workforce for the Future. So, it is a source of both increased productivity and technological advancement. The difference between developed and developing countries is the rate of progress in human capital. According to the report of the Economic Outlook, in Africa continues to improve. Real GDP growth rate estimated at 3.4% for 2019 is expected to accelerate 20.9% in 2020 and 4.1% in 2021. But this overall rate masks significant cross-regional and cross-country variation. 20 countries on the continent are expected to reach growth between 3 and 5%, while 20 others should go beyond 5%. The report says 6 of the 10 fastest growing economies in the world are now in Africa. These include Rwanda, which have 8.7%, Cote d'Ivoire 7.4%, Ethiopia 7.4%, Ghana 7.1%, Tanzania 6.8%, and Benin 6.7%. For the first time in more than a decade, growth in Africa is largely due to investment spending. Spending, especially in infrastructure, raises than consumption. However, the report says investment in physical infrastructure, though important, is not enough to stimulate the growth and productivity necessary for African economies. Countries should also accelerate investment in the development of human capital. Thank you.
Okay, it's clear that nobody can deny the fact that investing on the human capital is something which is important for a country's development. But one thing is sure, and it's something which is undeniable. It is the fact that investing on human capital is not the only thing we need. We are talking about development, and whenever we talk about development, we do not refer to one particular or any other particular sector. development is something which englobes a lot of things, a lot of fields, a lot of sectors. And why not, instead of putting emphasis on the fact of investing more and more on the human capital, why not thinking about another phenomenon, which is the brain. People are leaving their countries. They are given a good formation. They are given a lot of skills, but they do not use it in a good way. They betray their countries. They betray their native countries for traveling abroad and making their skills in the use of another country, a foreign country, and that is something which is really bad. Because if ever we keep emphasizing more and more on the human capital, it is a lot of money lost. We are losing money. We are losing time. Because instead of doing that, we could attack that phenomenon and do our best to the African leaders can attack that phenomenon and trying to stop the brain drain. Those who are going abroad and giving their skills to other countries, why not staying at their country, doing a strategy that will be able to keep them in their native country so as to take advantage of that skills and to make it on the use of their country. Okay, and also another thing is that most of our leaders are corrupted. There are a lot of corrupted guys. There are a lot of corrupted people. That means that people are not full of confidence. We not truly trust in somebody. Otherwise, he or she may betray you. You may be really surprised, because instead of doing what he or she was supposed to do, he can betray you, and the time you were losing, the money you were losing investing on him, he or she can betray you so as to do something else. There are a lot of examples here in Africa. For example, the Democratic Republic of Congo, the leader of their opposition, he was recently killed. And it's about it's nothing else about corruption. Because if ever you are good,
please, can you stop? The time is over.
Thank you. So thank you. Thank you, sir. I heard you saying that this is not, human capital is not the only aspect, but when you talk about sustainable development, you want a development in every part of the system. You mean social development, economical development, cultural development. And when you invest in human capital, you are doing something social and you're helping to the social development. You told about corruption. Corruption is something that we should ban, of course. But the problem is when you want to ban something, you gotta act like what you want to ban. So if you are in some kind of things working in development, you gotta think about what you gotta do first. And what we gotta do is to get, for example, governance and enabling economic environment, healthcare and infrastructure, education skills and skills development, and flexible and flexible labor market policies. And this is some things very important. The other things are the confluence of rapid technical change, globalization, and economical liberalization in recent years has prompted government in developing countries alike to prioritize skills development as a key strategy for economic competitiveness and growth. And this is something that everybody have noticed. In developing countries, especially the poorest one, the challenge are profound and complex. policymakers acknowledge the critical role of a strong human resource base in complementing other investment and policies to boost productivity and economic progress. Yes, yet while these countries report lower average levels and educational attainment than industrialized countries, in some countries there is some countries that they have invested in their money in some kind of human capital that help them get the knowledge and the skills to develop their countries. And when you want to develop your country, you gotta, because we need people to develop a country. You can get money, you can get resources, but when there is not people, you cannot, I repeat again, you cannot develop this country. Thank you.
So now, thank you, dear opponent, because you have underlined some things which are really important. You were talking about, the productivity. Here, what do we see the most of the time? People, they are investing on something without caring on what people they are living. When they are thinking about the profit. The profit is something which is really important for them because they are investors. And when you're doing some kind of investment, you're waiting for profits. But if they haven't good salaries, if they haven't social help, they haven't all the better living conditions and better living conditions of working, decent work. How will they have a good production? Then we cannot talk about productivity because we are not thinking about those who are working, but we are thinking about those what we are expecting from them without caring on what they are living in the enterprise. Anyway, so let's come to the education. We're talking about human capital. It is something really important, but the education is most important. Human capital is the resources or the abilities that people can have. But how can we invest in something that they have an education, they have a good formation? We are in Africa. We're not Westerners. We're not in Europe. We're in Africa. People, they want to earn money. They want to have a very good formation. We all want to work. Down the officers without having the good formation that will allow us to have a good salary. We have a good salaries. We dare say that. I dare say that. We dare because we have a good salary. So, like my brother and the half underlining, it's gonna push people to go abroad, and it's gonna be brain drain because they have all these skills so as to develop our Africa's countries. But the matter is, are we carrying on what they are doing? Are we carrying on them their wealth, their health, things like that? No, anymore. And education is something really important because we're taking too much time going out of school. We are doing 15 years out of school without learning anything. After going at the university, having your diplomas, what can you do? Nothing. They're asking to do an start and things like that. And then you will be unemployed, and it is not necessary. There we have the human capital. They all are at the university, but at the end, doing what? What they are going to do after having their diplomas? Nothing, absolutely. So the most important is to help people, to help them to do what they want, what they love. Because the human capital, we're not saying that it's not necessary, and no, it's not a must. But isn't more interesting on that? It's gonna be decreasing and a recession of economical recession. It's not really good. So what we have to do is to have a good education, to finance it in the formation because it's very important. Let's do our best for that. Thank you.
So what you have to know is education is one of the most important elements of human capital, leading to increased economic output, higher individual income, and increased economic mobility for families. So I'm a little bit surprised when you young people say that human capital is not sufficient to develop our country. No, this is insane. So you have to know that the underdeveloped countries need human capital to start new and expanding government services, to introduce new systems of land use and new methods of education. As according to President Akinwumi Adesina, youth employment unemployment must be given top priority, with 20 million graduates entering the labor market each year and only 3 million of them getting jobs. The mountain of youth employment is rising annually. How is that West Africa only accounts for 5% foreign direct investment into the African continent? This is a region that includes the continent's largest economy, Nigeria, with gross domestic product of 4,006 billion in 2016, about 29% of sub-Saharan African output of 1.4 trillion. Thank you.
Although so far we start addressing some of the society's defects that prevents us from moving ahead. We want to name here favoritism, corruption, lack of patriotism, and believe us, if that this list is not far from being exhaustive. We need to change our mindset and adapt our activities and habits to the demanding requirement of economic development. Africa doesn't definitely lack of human capital, but a well-organized society where everyone will feel equal to the others and ready to work towards a common goal. Individual solutions should be bent and problems should be addressed in the holistic way. We must accept inclusive policies and give everyone a chance to shine for the benefit of the continent. We already have the people for that. What we just need is what we have mentioned earlier. Thank you for your attention.
So now let's place the emphasis on something which is really important. We are talking about the DQ underline something which is very important about the financial and the sustainable development. But I'm telling you, I'm continuing in the same way that I work. What I was defending is the lot of the economical recession. Do you know a lot of investments that we are doing? They are moving our African countries in the recession, economical recession, and we want economical growth here in Africa, so I have to get developed. But I'm telling you, 55% of projects that have been financed, only 25% only succeed. And it's economical recession because our African leaders, they are investing money, but they know how to finance it. They know in what kind of sectors put it. And it is really dangerous because there we are losing money and we are giving money to those who aren't having the enough skills so to develop our country. We have many skills. We have the possibility to get developed. But ladies and gentlemen, let's open the eyes. We are in Africa. We are not investors. We are investing, and we are talking about Africans. We haven't a good development plan, investment plan. We haven't it well because when you're calling, hey, come on, I have money, I'm an investor. People they are coming with their project, but tough projects they can succeed in it. But the problem is, after giving them their money, they are going to eat it, and it is really, really shameful for us.
So,
okay, you say that in Africa we have a lot of organization, and I have to tell you that is really the role of human capital. I heard you talking about betraying people or someone like that. So you have to understand that is what we are looking for in human capital. Human capital can help deleting all these kind of things or all these kind of behaviors. People are not finished. They are thinking and they know what is good for them or what is not. So they have African people are really, really intelligent and they know what is good for them and what is not. So they know also that they have to change. Let me give you an example. What do you think about education? How do you want to preserve a sustainable development if your population is not educated? When someone goes at school, for example, her family is more wealthier, and the most important and feasible way for Africa to attain sustainable development today is to invest in human capital by education and skills development in order to develop high-level skills that are necessary to expand and enhance the continent's potential talent pool. This is particularly what we say that African countries have to invest. It is a must. It is not necessary, it is a must. They have to invest in human capital. Thank you.
So you say that we are in Africa. Yes, sir, we are in Africa. That's why we're talking about human capital. You know, Africa is Africa, the continent, and the youngest countries in the world. So we have to educate. We have to give education so that we can develop this Africa, which is. Thank you.
So what he was trying to say is, you thought about human capital and you do some kind of link with the authorities. This is how all the people do. This is what people do most of the time. That's why people forget what we got to do. If you want to develop a country and you got the resources and you're doing, when you are practicing education, when you got a good politic of education, you're forced to get a human capital, which is going to help you to use those resources to develop your country. And this is the only way for a country to get developed and to be able to at least give the people what they want. I mean, a normal life and with their families. And this is what we need in Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you to your opponent, because I'm sorry, but you were really perfect. You say that you thought that something which is I don't agree with that anymore. It's not the case. I'm sorry. You say human capital is only the way to get developed. It's not the case. I will give you one example. It's really easy. I will show you that it's not the only way to get developed. Let's take an example of the COVID-19. Here we have the COVID-19. Where are people? They are at home. Where were people? They wasn't out. Where were people? They were at home eating, sleeping. What were you doing? All that kind of thing. Are they working? No. Were they working anymore? Where were they? At home. They were at home. They were doing anything. Annoying at home. But who were traveling? Nobody. But who were working at the same time? We have robotization. Let's take an example of the robotization, the technology, IoT. Nowadays we are in the 21st century. We are talking about technological lane. We have to underline it and put the emphasis on that. Let's take about the machinery. Nowadays with the communication, where people were working with the telegram, they were working online with Zoom, for example. It's a pragmatic example of that. But I'm not telling that human capital isn't important. But I'm going to say that in this pandemic period, this period that we have never witnessed in our life, today we have solutions with the robotization and the technology. That's it. So let's take the mineral resources. We are in Africa, guys. We are talking about mineral resources. We are talking about all that kind of things. But here in Senegal, for example, in Sabodala, who is developing it? People are using their hands to extract those kind of mineral resources. But is it enough? No matter we are why not doing investments in that kind of sectors? Do the repetitions there. They will extract it in much. They will gain. They will have an energy gain. They will have a good pay. Everybody will take profit of it, benefit of it. And for this, for now and for tomorrow, because we are talking about sustainable development. It's important. Another plane. Let's talk about. The ground. People, we are talking about Africa. We have everything here. We have the sun, right? We have the sun. Everything is here. The matter is we wanna have autosufficiency, but the matter is we're using our hands. With the machines, we can have autosufficiency. We can export all our things, and exportation, the rate of exportation and the importation will develop our country, and this is very important. And it's a good example. And I will end it by the example of my country, because here in Africa, they are one of the best. Excuse me, they are one of the best because they put the emphasis on the technology. They invest in the technology. That's why they are developing many sectors, not only human capital, because the human capital, they are doing a relevant job in the development of Africa, but technology also they are playing a biggest role in the development of Africa. And this is really, really enough to show you that. Thank you.
Okay, you are talking about exploitation. I just have a question for you, and I really want you to answer. I'm asking you, who is going to exploit our resources if our governments themselves are embezzling our funds? And you are talking about COVID-19 too. Let me tell you, would all these people die if African people were more educated? If they had better education, they wouldn't go out. They wouldn't go out and see their relatives and do what they used to do when sanitary authorities say stay at home. And I just have to say, in Africa, we need education, and that's what we are looking for in human capital. Thank you.
So you say that we are in Africa, something like this. Yes, we are in Africa, and we have to be educated in order to develop our country. So imagine you're not really educated, and you want to exploit, to harness your resources. You see, this is impossible to harness a resource without education. We need to get educated. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. So what I want to answer for the last thing I want to say for you, man, there is something that you said. You said with the COVID-19, people around the world, people in Africa, if they didn't work, you said this, I think what you said, because I didn't work it well. But man, you see, we in Africa, people want to work, people want to get money, people want to do things for their country. But the problem is, with the new technologies and the new world in which we are, we gotta get some formations. You gotta be able to understand things fast, and you gotta be able to grow things up, and you gotta be able to be a leader. We need some leaders in Africa. The problem is in Africa, you said it, most of the times the authorities say, yes, we're gonna do it, we're gonna do this thing, we're gonna do this thing. But the problem is that they don't do those things. And we see people, of course, people are studying, but the other problem is people are studying, but people don't get things to work for it. I'll give you the example. In Senegal, for example, when you want to learn something about nuclear things, you cannot learn it here in Africa, and you cannot use it here in Africa, because people are not giving you the funds and the skills to get through it, right? I'll give you another example. The first nuclear bomb was made with some nuclear particles of Congo Brazzaville. If you think that it is something good, I don't think so. Because if the Congolese get the knowledge, enough knowledge, because they get the nuclear things, right? So if they get the knowledge, they can use it for themselves, for them energy, right? You see me? So that's it. This is how we gotta think about. You gotta give some information to people and give them the right to think and to develop their own country. Thank you.
last information. My friends, you have to know that we are in globalization. We need to get to be educated in order to use these cell phones, these computers, and develop our country. Sorry for it, and it is not. I mean, we have to. It's a must. We have to be educated because education is a really big element of human capital. So if we have to be educated so that we can develop our country. Thank you.
This is a must. Thank you.
Okay, to sum up, we will start by saying the fact that it is not a must. Why isn't it a must? Because, of course, investing on human capital is part of the fact of creating development, but it's not the only thing. Nobody can deny that it is something really important. But the matter is that it's not the only way, it's not the only perspective. There are a lot of perspectives. There are a lot of ways to develop a country. Putting all emphasis on the fact of investing more and more, it means like just throwing through the windows. It's like wasting money. We are wasting too much money. We do not say that we do not have the right to invest on the human capital, but what is sure is that we have to get in mind the fact that it's not the only way. Why not investing more and more on the other fields like agriculture? Why not creating more and more infrastructures? Why not trying to do some strategies, some inclusive strategies that will make everybody involved, that will allow to everybody to have its own word, creating investing more and more on the human capital, and it is taking the risk of seeing those same people you are investing on, those same people you are giving education, those same people for whom you are really tired about just giving your money, wasting your money on those kind of people. They can waste you, they can betray you by choosing another country instead of yours. And also, okay, and that have been said, we show you today that this is very important. We're not saying that investing on the human capital isn't necessary, but it's good, because we are talking about development, and human capital is something for Africa's development. But you have to get in mind, it's not the only sector, because it has some kind of phrases that we have noticed. Let's take example of the Nazis. They are communistic. They are working here. They are working in group. They are doing other things for their community, and they have done a lot of investment in their population so as to get developed. But at the end, what was the results? They have been at the roof of a global war. We have lost a lot of people, many days right here around the world. That's why it's something really dangerous. And nowadays we are in the 21st century. Let's put the emphasis on the technology, because it's something really important. So guys, we showed you that today it is something really important, the human capital. You proved it. And we will not really disagree with you. But today we show you through verified arguments that it's not the only sector that is really necessary for Africa to develop. Because we can notice a lot of risk there, and we have to get it in mind. You think we're thinking like everybody, we're Africans, we're thinking like this. But we're sorry today to give you this kind of arguments, but it's the truth. Thank you.
So we say no, and no. Investing on human capital is not the only way for Africa's development. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. It was really great and wonderful hearing both of the teams arguing and defending fiercely their argument. And I really love the hot pepper retorts that you've given. And this shows, and as for the first round, your argument to bear such a kind of maturity. And this is really wonderful because you're preparing your self for public speaking, as I've already mentioned during the first session. And this is great because you're just training your memory, and it's wonderful. And also the hot pepper retorts that you've given, I mean, both of the teams, Malick and Aime Césaire, were just great. So now we will give the we won't give the floor to the members of the jury. We'll let them we'll give them maybe some minutes for the deliberation to talk about, just talk about the evaluation criteria, things like that. At the meantime, we'll have a presentation or even 3 presentations today, and because we have 3 role models, as we did last time, we are presenting role models that are so inspiring. And since we are the general theme of this year's competition is Africa and development, so we judged it necessary that it is important to take a figure of the African revolution. I mean, Thomas Sankara. Last time we've chosen Thomas Sankara as a role model. Today we have a really brilliant figure and a proponent of Pan-Africanism, Julius Nyerere, and we have also 2 other role models. But we will start with the presentation of Julius Nyerere, that really founding father of Africa, who just swallowed his fears and really doubts, and before was hard to put Africa on the right path. So I think that, yes, you will have the image on the screen soon. I think that we can move for the biographers. Yeah. No result again for this competition, but again, guys, you did great. Really, it was wonderful listening to you. Giving your arguments, defending your opinion fiercely, and this is really important because you're preparing yourself in the future for national debates, and you are adding your voices to national conversation and even continental conversation, and that is really tremendous. Okay, now let us jump for the presentation of role models. So we have this great figure of Africa Revolution, and really a founding father. He is part of the great founding father of Africa, Julius Nyerere. So he is recognized as a tireless champion in the struggle for African liberation from white supremacy and domination. Julius Kambarage Nyerere, former and founding president of the United Republic of Tanzania, was a Tanzanian anti-colonialist activist, politician, and a great proponent of the Pan-African movement. He is known not only as one of the world's most respected statesmen and an articulate spokesman of African liberation and African dignity, but also as an educator and an original and creative educational thinker. He was so keen to associate himself with the idea of freedom to such an extent that his 3 major compilations of sketches and writings were given the following titles: Freedom and Unity, Freedom and Socialism, and Freedom and Development. President Nyerere strongly believed that the purpose of the state was to promote liberty and the freedom of the individual, alongside with a growth emphasis on national self-reliance and socialism. His endless efforts for the promotion of an egalitarian society was such that during his several terms between 1962 to 1985, he emphasized the need for a more equitable distribution for wealth and the absence of exploitation and indigenous Africans, sorry. It is in this framework that when Tanzania achieved self-governance, one of Nyerere's first acts as prime minister was to stop the supply the supply of Tanzanian laborers to South African gold mines, because he regarded it as a necessary act in expressing opposition to the apartheid system of white minority rule and racial segregation implementation in South Africa. His development plans and policies focused on the majority of the people with a strong will for rural development. He emphasized the need for mobilizing human resources for self-reliance development rather than relying on capital or material resources. And you see, this is part of the theme that you were debating just a while. He was a fierce, really proponent for investing more on the human capital. I won't say much about it. I'm not part of the members of the jury. So the development of a country is, relying on capital or material resources, saying that the development of a country is brought about by people, not by money and the wealth it represents. It is the result and not the basis of development. For President Nyerere, development is not confined exclusively to increase economic production and productivity, but includes all-around development of the people in terms of their education, health, nutrition, housing, childcare, and the like, and above all, the achievement of a particular quality of life, which is people-centered. Yes, it comes again. It is for that reason he stressed the importance of people's active participation in their own development, arguing that, I quote, if the people are not involved in public ownership and cannot control the policies followed, the public ownership can lead to fascism and not socialism, right? Socialism is only possible if the people as a whole are from office are involved in government of their political and economic affairs. Sorry, the characters are a bit small, so I have to go to the internet. Just I'm ready. So thanks to his peaceful withdrawal from office, which was something unusual regarding other African statesmen of that time, he is held in very high esteem by his peers and is epitomized as one of the best among the founding fathers of independent African states, citing him alongside big men as Kenyatta, Nkrumah, Sekou Toure, Patrice Lumumba, Modibo Keita, to list but a few. He is held in deep respect within Tanzania, where he is often referred to by the Swahili honorific name Mwalimu, which means teacher. And he is described as the father of the nation. Across Africa, he gained widespread respect as an anti-colonialist, and in power received praise for ensuring that, unlike many of its neighbors, Tanzania remained safe and unified in the decades following independence, thanks to his nonviolence ideology. Right, so it was the biography of President Nyerere. I hope that you have a broad idea of this great founding father of Africa, and yes, his achievements and yes, causes that he defended for so long. So now we will move to our second role model. Her name is Mariama Marcel John. Yes. Just give me 2 seconds. Yes. Mariama John is 28 years old, agricultural engineer who graduated from ANSA. She was born on November 1993 in Dakar, Senegal. Mariama was in the public primary school called École privée de la Cité des enseignants in Guédiawaye. And then she went to high school at Les Pédagogues School of Excellence. After her bachelor degree, she wanted to study medicine, but she was not admitted to the Faculty of Medicine of Cheikh Anta Diop University. She spent a year at the Faculty of Science and Technology, but was looking for a way to integrate other schools or universities because she did not have so much interest on science and technology. It was in this vein that Mariama passed the entrance competition of the National High School of Agriculture in Chess. After 5 years of training, she became an agricultural engineer specialized in soil sciences in 2018. As the major in her department, she benefited from a USAID funded scholarships to continue her PhD in agronomy. Currently, she is doing researches for the management of land fertility. Okay. Thus, she participates in the development of her country by helping honest people who depend on their land to feed their family to become resilient and improve their daily income. The advice from Mariam Marcel John. She said, nothing is impossible. You have to dream big and give yourself the means to achieve it. You don't need great things to succeed. Patience and willpower are more than enough. You will go through obstacles, but you will learn to take it up and get around. Oh, I love that. And get around them. There have been no secrets, no favors in life. The two values that have always helped me are honesty and perseverance. That's wonderful. This shows that we have really great, I will call them branders, because these people are branders because they are giving brand new ideas, and this is just great. As young people, we have to follow them and take them as models and try to really bear in mind their advice that they're giving and try to practice, because common belief is not common practice. Unfortunately, sometimes think they are giving advice, but we are not really practicing in our daily life. So this is just great, and they're doing things in a very they're just working hard and doing it behind the scene, and this is just great. So we will move to okay, sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm no longer connected. Okay, the third role model we have, his name is Carl Kenye. I hope that I pronounced that well. Okay, so Carl Kenye is an accounting student at Rhodes University, South Africa. Okay, sorry. He is also an alumni of the Tony Elumlu Foundation. Sorry for the mispronunciations. UNDP. He is the founder of Kilimo, whose vision is to revolutionize the agricultural sector in Africa. Passionate about the development of the African continent, Carl Kenye was team lead leader of the Africa versus Virus Challenge. Yes, he was the team lead of the Africa versus Virus Challenge, an ideathon organized by the African Development Bank to the African Development Bank to prototype solutions addressing the challenges presented by the global COVID-19 pandemic to African societies and economies. He was also on the panel of the webinar organized by the Youth for Technology Foundation in Kenya as youth advocate for the International Youth Day, where he shared insights and ideas regarding an important discussion on unlocking the potential of African youth. Carl Kenya is the initiator of a career show. Career show is an initiative launched to promote entrepreneurship in Africa. These are interviews with African entrepreneurs who come to share their experiences, the reality on the ground, and give advices to future and young entrepreneurs to young entrepreneurs. For Carl Kenya, we are never small enough to make a difference. And he also believes that the development of Africa will go through youth entrepreneurship. Yes, this was the third presentations that we have. I think that and hope that we will learn from these models that we brought for today. And yes, we just will try to apply and not abide by, but just to apply with their advice that they're giving. So thank you. It was all for the role models of presentation. Let us check if the jury, the members of the jury panel are ready for the deliberation. Okay, can I enter the room of the jury panel to see if they're ready for the deliberation?
L'Afrique, terre d'opportunités.
Moi, je suis ravie de voir de belles initiatives comme ça qui accompagnent et incitent la jeunesse africaine à bouger, parce qu'effectivement, aujourd'hui, rien ne se fera si on ne bouge pas nous-mêmes. Aujourd'hui, je pense qu'on est capable de faire de belles...
On a compris que la richesse aujourd'hui, elle se trouve en Afrique.
L'Afrique reste le continent de demain, reste un continent où il y a un développement économique quand même à deux chiffres.
C'est mon destin. Et j'espère que tout Africain qui se trouve ici pense la même chose de son pays.
C'est très important lorsqu'on parle de développement. On ne peut pas aujourd'hui concevoir le développement de l'Afrique sans une unité des Africains.
Qui dit aucun de nous, en agissant seul, ne peut atteindre le succès. Donc agissons ensemble. Nous avons un fort potentiel que nous pouvons apporter à la jeunesse africaine, au développement de l'Afrique en général.
Ce n'est pas un secret, c'est presque une évidence. La jeunesse est une valeur. Elle est l'alpha et l'oméga du développement.